Hi everybody, it's Hannah from Mother Goose's Makery, and today I'm going to be making the Tonic Studios Dainty Deco gift box die set. It's their October create and make, and it's a really pretty ornate box. It's small, but it packs a punch. It's got these beautiful recessed corners that are made very cleverly. It's designed by Toby, so you know it's never going to be as straightforward as it seems. And I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So, if you look inside, these pieces make the corners. You need 12 of these. There are 3 of them per corner because they all fold into each other. These, if you have 2 of these, make the handle for the lid. This is the decorative piece that goes around the corner. These are the sides, which is a very unusual shape for a side. These are the sides of the base and the decoration within. This is the base. This interesting one actually cuts out the shape that goes on the top, and that's the decoration for the top. And then those are just decorations for the little side bits in the corner if you feel so inclined, which you may or may not. Right. But as fancy and complicated as this looks, it's actually pretty easy, I think, to put together once you've cut out all the pieces. Move this out of the way. So, I went on a cutting spree and I've cut out, these are all my sides for the base, and I've already decorated them. So that was one of the verso panels and then the verso panel with the pattern stuck to the side. And I've pre-folded it. I've made some corners, but I'll make the third one because you don't need to see me make all of the corners. You only need to see me make one. But I've just decorated these bits already with the little outline cut for the decoration. I have 2 bases. I have, for want of a better word, 2 roofs. A top of my lid. These 2 bits make the handle. And I've decorated the one that's going to go on top. And these are my 4 sides of my lid. So, I'm just going to show you how to put this together. I feel like it seems more complicated than it is. So we're going to start off with the base. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this is the nice beveled die cut side. So I'm going to put that down. I looked at the instructions and I decided I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it. So what I'm going to do is get a side. These bits here that stick out are the feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small trail of glue along here, which is the trapezoid shaped flap. I don't know if you can see that. The contrast isn't great. And then what I'm going to do is, I might put it on a piece of white card so you can actually see, because it's quite hard because I'm using dark green card, is place it so the edge goes against the edge and this bit goes against that edge. So you can see this line is flush with the edge and this here is flush with that edge. And you'll see that will make a perfect thing, because I think you need to be able to burnish, and it's really hard to do that if you put it together in the way it suggests, which is put all 4 sides together, because you can't burnish because then you've got feet and it won't stand up. This works in my head anyway. So, again, glue on the trapezoid flap, this inset edge against this edge, and that edge against that edge. Line it up, push it down. I feel like a little finger burnishing goes a long way with this. You can see how this is starting to take shape. You could also do it by just slotting it on like that, but I just feel, I mean, that would work. Each to their own. Or, I mean, you could just follow the directions, because that would also be a sensible way to do it. But I just feel like for burnishing purposes, for a super strong box, for me, I prefer this way, because as much as the instructions are useful, for me, it's not always the easiest way for me to make it. And maybe it's just I'm difficult and like to be different. But also sometimes I struggle getting everything to close properly. So again, just push that in. And then the very last one. And then turn it over. And you want the outer edge on the outer edge. And that along that line. Oh. Ah, damn you. Okay, that was saving me from myself because I just stuck it to the wrong piece. It's been a long week. I'm on night shifts this week. We'll just ignore that. I should never have split everything up. So we'll try again. Glue. Well, that edge to that edge and that to there. That's better. See, that's why it didn't stick, because fate was telling me, Hannah, this is not the right place for this piece on this box. See, we all make mistakes sometimes. And that's okay. We're all human. Right. So I'll just very gently fold that back so that I can burnish. What you'll be able to see, you've just got a little corner on the inside on all sides. That's how you know you've done it the right way and not the wrong way, as I foolishly did. I can always cover that. It's on the bottom anyway. We'll gloss over that fact. Right. So now we have all four sides attached. So what we will do is we'll put a little bit of glue on here and just adjoin that to its neighbour. And I feel like them going together is a lot easier than attaching them all and then trying to attach the long sides. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. You'll have to try it both ways and report back. So again, shorter flap. And just hold. And then just pushing this one in place. I wanted to put the glue on both flaps at once. I always find that with the last one, you kind of need to be mindful of both of them. That's one. And then this one as well. And you can see how quickly this starts to take shape. I feel like we've been doing this for mere moments. I'm already starting to get a box. So then, we dot of glue on all of these little standy pointing up flaps, and a dot of glue on these little corner flaps, these tiny little ones here, because this is what gives the box some structural integrity, as it were. So when I folded all these pieces, I folded it so you have the side, then it goes in, and then it goes up. So what happens is that goes down, and then this one goes on top of it, and the little flap goes around the corner. So this goes down, this sits on top of it, the little flap goes around the corner. That goes down, that goes on it, little flap goes around the corner, this goes down, this sits on it, little flap goes around the corner. So you can see you've got all your tiny flaps on the inside and all your bigger ones that were sticking up vertically underneath. So when you put glue on them, make sure you only put glue on the very edge, because if you put it all the way to this bit here, your glue will be visible, and no one wants that. And this box is mostly about being patient and pinching bits so it has a chance to adhere. So I'll put my finger inside and push this bit up so it matches that and meets that. And it can just have a time to adhere, and you can see that tiny bit of glue just popping out. And then this bit here gets pinched behind the vertical flap. You can see how the box is taking shape, and it's quite sizable. It's quite a broad box. Some boxes have tiny mouths, as it were, and you can struggle to fit anything in. This is quite big. What would have been sensible to tell you to do before I did that was to pop this in. Ugh. This is why I hate rushing. Luckily, card is malleable. So just pop that in. There you go. And that fits perfectly inside and hides our mechanisms. If you were sensible and not me, you would have stuck that down before you folded the sides up. But luckily, because of the broad mouth of this box, it was not insurmountable. And you can see how that is just in now and gives us a nice, neat base. Ideally, put glue on it. I might stick another one on later. I might stick another base one on, actually, to cover that bit of glue. Anyway. So that is one very pretty, ornate base for a box. So now we are going to move on to the corners. So you will have 3 pieces shaped like this. And the way this has been designed is very clever, because they interlock to make a beautiful ornate corner like this. So what we do, again, you're going to want glue just on the tip of this. So just on the bit that sticks out past the triangle. On this flap here. So on the outmost triangle, and on that little flap there. And because it's going to go quite quickly together, I'm just going to pop glue on all of my pieces. It's almost like a little puzzle. What we're going to do is we nestle the big triangle behind the triangle next to it. So those two are now stuck. Underneath is the sticking out flap. So we'll just stick that down. So that will make a V, and they're flush to each other because that bit is flat. And then we just hook that underneath, and that makes a corner. But you have to get the flat bit flat before you can make the corner a corner. So the next one, this third one, you have to kind of do both at once. So you stick that underneath, but also on top. So you have to push the two sides together until the triangle is complete. And this is why I glued all of the bits at first. Then we're going to push that sticky out one here. And that sticky out one here. And you can now see we have a perfect triangle here and a triangle here. And then we're just going to do all the little flaps. Pinch it together, let the glue hold. Pinch it together, let the glue hold. And you can see that is your corner. And it looks so complex, but it goes together so quickly. And then what we're going to do, I've cut this out in the contrasting colour. So pop glue all the way around the edge. Pop it over the top. And it just gives it that nicely finished look. So that was the fourth of my corners. So we have 4 corners. And a nice little pile here. So onto the handle. The handle is made up of 2 identical pieces. This one I've decorated the top of, so that one will go on top of that. And then there's just 4 little flaps that tuck into each other. So we can put this one on top of that. And after we've held that and it's adhered it, just going to push all the flaps under. Oop, it's trying to go on top. And we're just going to pinch and hold on each side. So they all have a chance to stick. But what's going to happen with this, once you've done this, you could actually not stick it, because what we're going to do is this. We cut the top, and then, 1 second. When you cut the top, you have to use this little square to cut an aperture in it. So what we're going to do is we straighten out all of these, and we just thread them through. And then pop a little bit of glue on each side. Fold them all down. And then I'm just going to press down. and they will adhere to the underneath. And suddenly that isn't going anywhere. So can you see why you don't necessarily have to? I mean, I would glue the flaps. I did glue the flaps underneath. But the fact that you're securing all 4 sides to this anyway means it's not going anywhere. So then what we do, we take one of these, which is cut from this piece. So it's slightly bigger than this octagon, which makes that. So you can see this just mounts on that one. It's slightly bigger, just nests inside it. So we'll just pop glue on the underside of here. And then that means the workings there are concealed. So now all we have to do, we have a lid, we have sides, we have corners. So we've just got to piece the whole thing together. Now for me personally, I think the easiest way to do it is to put the lid on and then attach the sides. So what I'm going to do, each of these, where there's a tiny release hole, I don't know if you can see it there, there's a tiny release hole from the die and it's made a little dot. So just for my happiness sake, I'm going to do each of them with the dot facing down so that they all appear to be even. Okay, that's that one. Okay, what I'm going to do. Glue on here. And we're just going to glue that there with the tiniest, just like a tiny peak of the pink in between, because otherwise you've got the green abutting the green, and that for some reason upsets my sensibilities. You don't want it so large that you can actually see the gap in between the sections, but you just want it so it just gives like the tiniest breath of pink, in my opinion. So then the next one. And again, you want these 2 bits to butt up perfectly. But as I said, you just want the tiniest, like, suggestion. I think suggestion is probably the best word. Just want, like, the world to know there is a tiny bit of pink there, but not actually enough that they can do anything with it. This one goes here. I found with this box that most of my time was spent cutting out bits and sticking them together, and that, as in prepping the sides, that the actual construction of the box takes a very short amount of time. The last corner. Just goes on there. So we now have a lid with corners. And then because these are curved, I'm going to apply the glue to these rather than to the sides, because I don't want glue on the bit in the middle. So just stick that to one side. And then the other. And do this the whole way around. Oh, so because you can see if you put glue on that, then you'd have glue here. And I try to make my boxes look neat. I don't always succeed, but I at least try to make them look neat and presentable. See, I keep picking up the piece to glue it. I'm so used to gluing the piece I'm sticking rather than what I'm sticking it to. I kind of have to do a double take with every piece. I don't really think this was the order in which the instructions said to do anything. But for me, it just made it such a straightforward make if you did it this way, that I thought that might be helpful to you, because sometimes I struggle and trying to wrestle pieces and get them in, whereas this is just kind of like stick them on so they're in the most secure, straightforward way, and then just stick other bits to join them up after. It worked for me. I hope it works for you, and I hope you go, oh yeah, oh, that actually works. Cool, that was helpful. And to be fair, if you were just doing it the normal way, you probably wouldn't need to watch my video. You could just follow the instructions in the first place. There you go, that's like that. And you can see that's adhered to all the sides. And then just to cover the workings in the middle, I've cut another one of these, which is the octagon that went on the top. And then what you could also do, if you were feeling a little bit extra, is do 4 of the triangles in rose gold, and then just stick them to the inside to give that some pizzazz. It depends if you're the kind of person who also stamps inside of your cards or not. I think that's the best way to describe it. I'm not an inside card stamper, so I'm probably not going to do that. But also I might, so who knows. So that just goes on there like so. And how, I'll put this up because it's dark, how stunningly beautiful is this box? It's a perfect little piece of deco beautifulness. Part of me, and I think I might have to control this part of me, but part of me really wants to paper piece this. And then the part of me that doesn't makes me go, no, that's way too much work. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope you make this box. I hope you try and make it my way and find that it works brilliantly and you think I'm a genius. Please like and subscribe, and that way you'll be notified for more videos. And in my bio is an affiliate link to buy this box, other stuff off Tonic, I get a tiny commission, which helps me buy the stuff to make these videos, but it doesn't cost you any extra. And yes, keep crafty, everybody. Bye.